beginning, it started pretty much, I guess it was my dad that got me this plastic guitar. And my first thought was, man, I love the way this thing is making noise, but I wish I could control it. That turned into learning how to play, and then it turns into, man, I wish I could play better. And then it was like, wow, that sounds pretty cool, but if I had an electric guitar and an amp, that would sound really cool. And then it turns into, if I could just play with a drummer, then I could hear a beat, And you're like, man, that would really be cool is if we had a band, and then you finally get into a band and you all start playing and your timing gets better and, you fundamentally you just get better all the way around because you're, playing in a group. And I guess I wasn't really thinking too much about recording, but during that time, my dad had this little 4-track recorder, and I used to play around with it, and put like the guitar line, the bass line, and put some drums or something over it, And then you start getting into partying and girls and stuff like that, and then I try just trying to start a band, but then partying real heavy, and then nothing works out because you're just your energy is focused on the wrong things, And I remember I tried hard to write music during that time, but it was just such a party that and everything was just so chaotic. I just couldn't get any structure out of anything. But then I quit drinking, and the fog started to clear from my head. That's when I was able to start putting thought into songwriting and stuff. And moving to Florida, and not knowing anyone, that all I had was my guitar and my amp. And I'd go out and work and I would just play it for 2 hours a night. I would just go from riff to riff to riff to riff to riff, just playing all kinds of different stuff, and then kind of experimenting with this and that. And then I eventually, came up with a handful of things to start composing some songs. I guess when I got to Florida, I started taking a lot more serious too, because I felt like I had wasted so much time in my life that I needed to get it back, and I needed to write music and record it and make an album. What are you waiting for? Do it now, So I kind of pushed myself to do that, because time goes by so fast, and if you spend too much time procrastinating about anything, time will pass you by, the time is now. So once I was in Punta Gorda or Port Charlotte or somewhere around there, I was able to Google a recording studio, and this one in Northport popped up. And so I had a meeting with them, and I played some riffs and stuff like that. And I would play these really crazy, complicated things, nobody could comprehend, there's no, it hadn't really, it was really complex on the guitar, but it made no sense to the audience, Rick Duncan was most hit songs follow the same formula, That was the most important stepping stone of knowledge that I learned, gave me the structure, intro, verse, chorus, outro, it was a game changer for my music, because for one, it made it a lot simpler, because the stuff I was trying to play was just astronomically complicated, So that's when I started recording the album Walks with the Light. I had a library of stuff I'd been working on, and I would just go from song to song to song to song, and the whole album is really during that time it was kind of a dark time. I didn't know anybody in Florida at all, and all I had was my guitar, and I had just lost my home in San Antonio. I didn't know if I was coming or going, if I was going back to San Antonio or if I was staying there. And it's really about, the whole album is really just about me trying to find my way, out of a dark situation, My favorite song on the album, Walk to the Light, is probably the title track, Walk to the Light. That's when I felt like I was starting to get comfortable in my voice, and before that it felt a lot more like forced. for one, it's really emotional, and two, like it's just a fun song for me to sing, play. One of the things that bothered me when I was in Florida, and I didn't know when I was going to be going back home or back to San Antonio, or I felt bad and guilty that I hadn't seen my grandfather in so long, and I knew that he was getting up there in years, and I started thinking about like if I never get back to see him, and the song is about really about like just hold on until I get a chance to say goodbye.
I can see the waves in the ocean. I can see all the tears that have flooded your mind. I can see all the waves on your shoulder. Thinking back on the years that you paid for my life.
I guess once I wrote Walk to the Light, it was, to me, the blueprint of my music. The feeling that it gives you, like that was like when I knew like I was in the right, I knew that I was right where I wanted to be. The door finally opened up, and I could see clearly where I wanted to go with my music. Don't Close Your Eyes is a lot like Walk to the Light. I would sit in the garage and I would zone out on the music and then think of whatever I thought of, and the same thing, I kept thinking of losing a loved one. And, while I was writing it, I thought about my grandfather. I thought about, if it was an old couple, like, it's really just about anybody losing anyone, really.
I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to leave without saying goodbye.
Most of the stuff I would play would be like heavier riffs or, faster upbeat and stuff like that. But that song right there, like I kind of changed my guitar style when I was writing it. I was trying something different where I was just kind of plucking the strings like 3 fingers, and I started coming up with this trippy sound, I like that song just because it's so unique sounding, If not from everyone else, it's also unique from everything else that I've done, I definitely like that spooky kind of mysterious vibe it gives you, If I Fly, that song is about leaving San Antonio, and then, after my puppies all passed away, I walked outside, got in the car, and started driving to Florida. It was literally just like that. The song starts off, like,
it's gonna be alright, but I don't wanna stay.
I get in my car as I'm driving away,
Try to keep myself calm as I'm driving away.
I kind of knew in my heart that I might not ever, make it back, but it felt like, like friends and colleagues, they kind of wanted you to fail. I mean, whether they did or they didn't, that's kind of what it just kind of felt like, and it's really just about, like trying to go to a place to where, you can stand up and be the person you're trying to be without, negative energy, like weighing you down and keeping you from your goals and your dreams. I like the subject of the song more than I like the song, I mean, every time I make a new song, to me it's always just as cool as the last one as I'm writing it, but looking back on it. I like the ending of If I Fly, because it's kind of like, you're going to be alright, but you may not be. On My Own, that song is, it's really about my brother back home. That's kind of what inspired the song, growing up together and stuff like that. And, me being out on my own and, just trying to support myself and, learning to stand on my own. But
these feelings I've kept inside, and thinking about all those friends that I've had to lose. Can't get back all those days that are gone.
Yeah, it's really just about missing my brother and, trying to find my way by myself. And I remember, thinking of like writing the song and then thinking of like, man, I need something in there, and I just can't figure out. Like there has to be something on the end of the song, and I don't know what it is. And then at the last minute, I came up with those lines on the end of the song. Rick Duncan used to joke around saying, "Yeah, that's the $1 million hook," you know.
When I'm going back home, I'm still learning to stand on my own.
I like the song. I like the story behind the song. I mean, the song is obviously really slow. Like, as a musician and singer, I would prefer to sing, faster or play faster. But I mean, I think, I guess, for the song for what it is, I think it's a pretty good song. It's slow, but it's emotional, and it makes sense, and it definitely hits you in the feels if you let it.